Hi everyone. Let's go through BTC first. Today is December 10th. I'm going to share a video recording. We don't have live call today. Won't be possible. However, I'm happy to answer any question if you might have. So let me get started with the 1 day time frame. Right. So the last screenshot I posted with a yellow line added on it. Now what we see here is a positive consolidation. If you look at today's move, it's just 0.35, tiny move. We have FOMC meeting coming up, as you know, next week, very important one. And the rate hike decision would drive market as usual, as we have seen in past. The same thing we are expecting. A major move depends on how much percentage of increase we see. So if it is 50 basis points, then the market is likely to pump. Otherwise, it will upset and potentially make a downside move. Until that happens, it is possible that BTC might not make a major move. There's no rule. It can break out because the consolidation is very, very positive. If you look at these for two quick move, breaking above the warning level, these are the two quick move breaking above the blue level and reach to the resistance at 17,150. Now, this is another move or attempt, we can say, to break above, but not quite able to uh, break above. In fact, there are multiples. If you look at so many. So I would say these are not failures, um, but consolidation and a positive consolidation. So if we don't assume what FOMC meeting is going to be, then the current setup indicates that the breakout is there on the upside, right? So it could happen anytime before or on FOMC meeting duration. So that's something we cannot predict. Nobody can, right? But as far as current setup is concerned, the current setup is positive. So let's say if it breaks above, then of course this orange line we have around 18K is a major resistance. Now this 18K was actually touched here. If you look at it, it's June low, right? And then, sorry, my bad, November, November low, and then a quick bounce on the upside. And then what you see is the retest of this low and then recovery following this yellow trend line. So that's the summary, uh, right, since it broke down. So again, another move on the upside is likely to retest this resistance. So it could touch and then react, if you ask me. So path could be like this: touch, react, touch, maybe one more time, and then break out. So whether it goes for there in a first attempt, I mean second or third one is something we cannot predict. But this is a, I would say this is green scenario. This is like bullish scenario. Right. And for now, I would keep it this way. But at the same time, I would just consider a downside, but only if it is below warning level. That doesn't change. Right? If it breaks below warning level this time, then it will prepare for a new low. So this is a downside scenario. I think this is good enough. So we have now simple layout here with bunch of five key levels in front of you. You have, so now our weightage is more on the downside because this path is starting from here. So this is a possibility right now, high probability. And this downside move is a possibility, not a probability. And only if it breaks below the warning level, which we haven't changed for a very long time, as you know, right? So life is simple, trading is simple when we analyze in a certain way, right? Otherwise, there's always something going on in the market, and there's always something you'll find to you'll find concerning. But I think you have to find a way to see through what really is happening and what might happen in coming days, near future. Right. So these key levels are going to tell us what might happen. And I think the FOMC meeting is super important. Right. So that's it on a daily. Let's have a look at Bitstamp. Okay, Bitstamp on weekly. Also, weekly is not bad. This week is a little dull compared to the last week, but not bad. Not bad because it's green. It's staying above 17K, so it's still good. And so from that point of view, it's not bad. Um, of course, this height has to be higher, and ideally, if it could break about 21K, that will give a big relief, if you ask me. 21K will personally, from a TA point of view, will give me a big relief. Until then, there is hardship, little like concern, not a worry, but I would say it will keep us on toes. Yeah, we have to be watchful until that happens. Once it breaks about 21K, then I think roads will open, and then I think breaking about other resistance should not be a problem. Main thing is this from current level until 21K, in my opinion, in the current scenario, right? So that's how it looks like. Pattern wise, you can think about very like various patterns. Right now, I have falling wedge, but there can be many things. One big move would change this wedge into something, but I think I'll just keep this for now. On a weekly, so I think I don't have much to say, to be honest, because this was the June low, and this was FTX breakdown. I would say not something that was planned, and now it's trying to recover. The recovery is not as good as we want, but it's not Bitcoin's problem. If you look at capital market like Nasdaq, it's also struggling. It's struggling. In fact, this week Bitcoin was stronger. I mean, I don't want to compare everyday price and even every week price with Nasdaq, but just for a reference, that for this week, Nasdaq was quite weaker compared to Bitcoin. Right? It's not a benchmark though, but just as I say, they're kind of coupled. They move in a similar same direction, more or less. And it's just a quick comparison that though we are frustrated maybe with Bitcoin because it's not making big move, but if you look at stock index, it's even more lethargic. It's not just moving sideways, but actually trying to find new support. Not breaking down, but I mean it's weaker this week. Okay, so weekly I would say not bad, as I said, but more ground to be covered. What else? We can have a quick look at monthly. Monthly, we got a green candle. Last time we had a red one. Right, so this we got the green one. Now it's not a big one, but at the same time, the month hasn't ended. This is 10, 20, so 21 days to go. So from that regard, it could be a good start. You never know. By the time month ends, it could go up, and we might see a nice green candle. What else? Yeah, on monthly, if this is broken below the low, as you could see, then I think you look for a lower level, which I'll provide you if that happens. I think it doesn't make sense now. But yeah, as soon as if that happens, then I'll have my supports ready and for you as well. Right. So not to worry. So at this moment, I would say in Bitcoin, we're looking for the continuous recovery. The recovery is slow, maybe frustrating for some, but it's a time for patience, right? Because it's not about just crypto, it's about overall capital market, not just capital market, I would say it's global economy, so to speak, is going through a rough patch and a potential turnaround. And yeah, if the monetary policies can be little relaxed in next few months, for next few months, then Bitcoin could rally. And that's something we are interested in. Let's have a quick look at DXY. For a few days, we got some challenging time with DXY because it had hit support, and whenever it hits support, there's always a bounce, and that's why. Let's look at one day, and that. So we had this couple of green candles where we had that uh, Bitcoin pressure. I mean pressure on Bitcoin, but then for last couple of days it corrected, not crashed though. It's still it didn't make a new low, so we had to be watchful on this one as well, because the same can be said for DXY as well. You may not like it, but you may not like it, but I have to draw this because this is also kind of a falling wedge. Yeah, what can I do? It is a falling wedge. Yeah, so this could also go up from, but I would rely more on key levels because these wedges are not so reliable. But uh, I saw it, so I shared with you, but not necessarily they are very much reliable. Okay, so I think our approach on tracking the key levels is much better, or much more robust, I would say, and we're going to stick to that. So for DXY, so the DXY, if you look at the weekly, the fall is continued. So as I mentioned last week, when it was rising, there were corrections, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks in between. You see this, and while falling, also there were bounces, and this is totally normal. So this week it bounced. You see the nice green candle, and if it has put pressure on Bitcoin, then I would say but natural. If you look at quickly, there were two red candle and a green candle. If you look at last three. So for a quick comparison, you can see that there is no red candle for BTC when the DXY had a green. So you know what I'm saying. The latest candle for Bitcoin is green, while DXY is also green. So that is something positive because when the DXY was red, right, the BTC were green to prior to candles, prior to weeks. So in case those who are trying to judge prices every day, not going to find good answer, because nobody said that Bitcoin is going to blindly follow DXY every day or every hour or every move. And that's why I mentioned earlier that okay, there's no, I mean, you may compare with DXY or track DXY, but don't expect that it will act like a pendulum. That is, the pendulum on the left goes down, the right one will go up. This is not a pendulum. Okay, the DXY BTC relationship is not like a pendulum. This is something. Yes, they are inversely proportional, but not proportionally. I mean, they are not proportion in terms of percentage move, and that's why you see it out of proportion. It doesn't mean they're diverging. Okay, they do sometime like, but overall, they go in opposite direction. If you look at the trend, so trend wise, they're opposite, but not necessarily every day or every week. So this is something very important to notice. Okay, and this is a live example that this is green, the XY is green this week, BTC also green. Okay, so first 2 days were under pressure, but if you look at the weekly, it hasn't disturbed the weekly, and that's positive. And I don't have to say, you would assume that if this bounce continues, then BTC would be under pressure, continuous pressure, and then we'll have to see how it behaves. Right now, no need to speculate. As and when it happens, I'll have a look and update you. So that's good enough, right? And DXY, the trend hasn't broken. Maybe this particular trend from January is broken, but the overall trend hasn't broken, right? It's still good. So this is support, this is secondary support. You may say this S1, S2. So it's still above support. So DXY is not dead. It's weak, going down. It's not dead, and which is fine. Totally, it's not that you have to wait for it to die. No need, because this process takes time. Mhm. Right. So that's DXY, which is relevant, and I think you got a fair amount of understanding. Let's have a quick look at all the altcoin and their strength, starting with Atom. Atom got a red candle, but not a big one. There's no new low. We are fine with Atom. AVAX touched the, I think, yeah, this line and reacted, which is totally fine because there has to be some reaction. Resistance, these prior supports are now resistance, so it makes sense. BNB is following the path. There's a giant green candle, and these are like small red. Nothing to worry because there's no new low though. Not yet. There was intra-week low, but not quite closing. So nothing wrong about it. CRO is under pressure, as we know. We talked about it, but this week it tried to break above and got rejected here, which is also the case, which was the case earlier. And this is resistance now. So at least it is falling resistance or technicals, I would say. And of course, this is not a good setup, but it's trying its best not to make a new low. So at least we can say that it's not trying to make new low and in fact trying to recover, and yeah, it could not retain this bounce, but at least it was a positive move. So I would consider Crow is getting positive at this moment, though it's a red candle, nothing, no major move this week. I still consider this is positive because it could reach to this level. Doge, Doge is unusually weak this week, um, but it's okay. There's no new low. It's um, it started pretty well, in fact, and then in last couple of days it lost some value. Otherwise, the beginning of the week it was stronger, pretty strong. Nevertheless, still the closing is here, not even broken the last week's low, so I'm not concerned. DOT is on an edge, but it's there for last 5 weeks. If you look at touch, so yeah, it's on edge at this moment, but no new low. So there's no opportunity for sure. EGLD is much better. Third consecutive green candle and it's stronger than prior. Not only that, it broke the support, means the resistance now, and now that became support like earlier, like here. So that's positive, very positive. So it's marching in the right direction. Ethereum. Ethereum touched the support and bounce off. So it's range bound, as you could say. As you could see, it's a range bound, which is totally fine. And this is like it's very close to BTC in terms of price action. So we can understand it's not making a big move. So yeah, nothing to worry. This is still trying to break above and far away from the low. So I would say positive. Let's look at Filecoin. Filecoin is got a red candle this week, but I think it's making progress, slow, boring progress. I think this is similar to Bitcoin, this piece of price action. But yeah, nothing wrong. Flux made a couple of big moves in last 2 weeks, but now it's retracing. So this could be little, it could retrace even lower and then make a retest of this low, not necessarily all the way here. It could be somewhere here and then bounce off. So that's something we have to look. At this moment, there's an opportunity. There's no opportunity because it's still in the process of correction. But yeah, as overall setup point of view, it's not a threat because it hasn't even broken prior low. I mean, simply put, FTM is taking time. That's fine. Last week was amazing. This week is flat. And if it goes up, then this orange is going to play. I mean, come in play, and then maybe a little bit of retracement, and then another attempt to pick up the orange. HNT is much better today. It's on support, like it's overlapping basically. I'm not going to add new support touching this low because I'm considering this as a resistance at this moment, and if it starts bouncing, then we'll see. Right. Or if anyone is interested in lower support, then I'm happy to provide. So if it could be on request basis because at this moment I want to calculate if it bounces then and continue moving up, then we don't need a lower support. But if you're interested, just tag me. So I'll calculate for you. Sometimes you might not be interested, so better I do on request for this HNT. Okay, so KC has stopped falling. The last 3 weeks it was falling. As I mentioned, it could be because of the rumor. Whether it's a rumor or reality, we don't know. But it was due to potential risk on from KuCoin platform point of view. That's why it was under pressure. But this week is clean, so it's holding up. No major bounce, but holding up. LINK is not so good, but not bad at all. It's holding up support, so not bad. Matic, Matic is, I think it's likely to follow this path. Yeah, no great move this week, but on track, I would say. I'd be surprised if it make a vertical move like that. If it does, very good. Otherwise, it's likely to follow this trajectory. Angle could be a little different. Angle could be a little different, but this is potentially angle could be like this also. Yeah, but I would just keep like for now. Okay. Same. Uh, bounce after support, as you could see here, and holding up. Nothing major though. As well, holding up flat for last 2 weeks. I covered this one last time, so there's no movement, so nothing more to add, to be honest. Because there has to be something, right, to talk about. You can always watch my prior video. Basically, this is a victim coin. Uh, yeah, at this moment, there's nothing, no takers, nobody's buying. Right, so I think this ends the analysis. I hope you find it useful. Feel free to ask me any question. I'll end here. I can keep you posted. Thank you.